in a Nutshell podcast with myself, Andrew Miles Davis, and my co-host, Chris Branch. This is the daily 10-minute podcast where we take out all of the techie talk around generative AI and focus on what the everyday person, content creator, and marketer wants to hear. Now, we've only got 10 minutes, so we can only focus on one particular subject. And today, as it's Friday, we're going to talk about the news. So what's been going on over the last 7 days in the world of AI. And as I say every week, it's been a busy week in AI. So we're just going to go through some of the, really just very quickly, some of the things that's been going on. So let's start with the platforms, because every week there's a busy week with the platform. Somebody's doing something new. Somebody's kind of changing certain things up. Some are even shutting down. But this week, one of the things we definitely want to start with is Google. You know, Google got slapped with a huge fine, $250 million fine by the French watchdogs, basically to do with their Bard platform. So their Bard large language model, which is now Gemini, it was essentially got hit with a fine because of how it consumes its data, let's say, how it learns. And we can see this being the first of many fines, you know, when it comes to this, because I would say all of them are in breach of this under the same things. But again, I don't know this for definite, but I can definitely see that being an issue. Mm-hmm. So, were you surprised that they got hit with a fine? Or
no, like you said, not at all. Many more fines to come up in the future as it's uncovered that these have crawled places they shouldn't have done. And I don't even know if it's at the fault of these companies, honestly, because if these sites have been mislabeled as publicly available data, and therefore that's how they've ended up in the training data set, maybe it will turn out that it's the fault of the news article places, you know? It could be that as well.
Yeah. Maybe. But it also kind of goes into a second news article, which is to do with the I think it was the CTO of OpenAI.
Yep.
So, yeah, if you want to just kind of explain what she said.
So in a Wall Street Journal interview, she was being asked about the places in which Sora was trained, you know, of the big video platforms. She asked about every single one, even though they refused to answer any of them. So YouTube, TikTok, you know, going through all of Reddit. And each time she was like, if it was publicly available, then it might have been in there, but I can't directly say yes or no. And it was going to be the stock answer every single time from these platforms in that, yes, it's a possibility, but no, I can't say yes or no either way. And I'm basically refusing to answer the question like a lawyer. So, it's pretty standard.
$50 million fine from the French government as well.
Is that because if she'd have said in that interview, yes, YouTube, then that's straight away an instant law case, you know, like, so really admitting any of these things in a podcast, a live interview, wherever it is that they're asked, is going to be serious fines if, you know, that's used in court. Like, so
keep your mouth shut.
Exactly. In the other news that I saw, one of my favorite platforms, Runway, is collaborating with a new music platform that I was actually unfamiliar with called Musically Group. And essentially the idea is, and we've made an episode on this recently, that you can use lyrics to video. So like you can upload some lyrics that you've maybe made in a song and it will generate some visuals that could go onto your Spotify. And it's very quick and very easy for musicians to then have a music video ready to go just by simply uploading their lyrics to the platform, which is pretty cool to see.
That does sound cool. I wonder if you can go back to old songs. Like you got loads of album tracks from different artists that that might not be released as a single, which means it didn't have a video, but you can upload that and then you can create your own videos. That'd be quite cool.
Well, you had this idea, didn't you, about taking famous lyrics and then making images and then getting people to guess which song it represents. Like, so here we are. It's now a product.
Now it's a product. So good job there by Runway. Another bit of news, another platform, which is Character AI. So Character AI, I feel sorry for them to an extent because they don't get the news articles and the PR that it deserves, because it's one of the most popular downloaded AI apps. And Character AI, what they've done is they've just launched a new feature that adds voice. So if you don't know Character AI, imagine Chat GPT when you're getting answers, but it's from, you might say, pretend that you're a lawyer. Character AI actually builds the lawyer, so it's like as if it was a lawyer speaking to you. So, but now they're adding voice, and you can train the voice on something as little as 10 seconds worth of material, and it can then essentially clone the voice. So it's quite an interesting thing that they're doing over there at Character AI.
Yeah, crazy developments, multimodal, just as we predicted. They were good at one thing, text, add a voice to that, multimodal. So
Yeah.
as we'd always expected, loads and loads of news about Nvidia. I'll introduce the chip, and then you know more about their robot and can talk about that. It looks like their new chip called Blackwell is going to be a giant leap in terms of helping AI language models be created and trained. And it looks like it can allow for many more billions of parameters. I'm not going to go too technical on, the advancements, because it is very techie. The whole conference to announce all of this is very techie. But essentially, it's another giant leap, and Nvidia stocks will do the same thing.
Yeah, worth investing there. Because also what they've done is they've introduced what's called Project Groot. I think it's called Groot, how it's pronounced. So Groot, which is similar to the
Yeah, how did they get away with that, I wonder?
Marvel character. Yeah, so again, but I think we're going to do an episode on one of our pet peeves, and that's the name. So we're going to do an episode of that. But anyway, so they've just basically introduced Project Groot, and it's a multimodal AI humanoid robot. So OpenAI done one last week where they introduced it with another company. Can't remember the name of the company, but it looks like Nvidia is doing the same thing, and kind of goes into an episode we spoke about when it comes to these humanoid robots. Does it need to be a human? Does it not? If it's a robot that does this, essentially it's the information that will soon be in your Siri, in your Alexa, in your YouTube, whatever not YouTube, Google Nest, etc. So it's going to be that. So. And it was funny because he was on stage, and it looked like from the film Iron Man 2 when the CEO of the company, was on stage with all these robots. So that's what it kind of looked like to me.
Yeah.
But with these humanoid robots, another interesting story came from Mercedes. Now, Mercedes, what they're doing is they're getting humanoid robots, but they're going to get these robots to essentially manage the low repetitive tasks when it comes to building a car. So it's interesting. I've gone to a car plant. I went to Audi in Germany. My friend was about to buy a car, and I saw all of this technology, but it didn't look like humanoid. It just looks like like machines moving.
Are they like arms? I'm picturing them as like arms that move things that are attached to the
So
ceiling.
but they're huge. They're huge arms. But here you've got literally robots, almost like the one that you see from what's the name of that robot company that does all the lot. Name skips.
Boston
Boston
Dynamics.
Boston Dynamics. It's similar to those type of robots.
Yeah.
So imagine that, but again, they're going to be doing that. But the interesting thing is those low repetitive tasks, which means certain people or a number of people will probably be made redundant off the back of it.
And as we've discussed in previous episodes, sadly, this is juniors, like that's what's going to be the problem in terms of going for an apprenticeship very soon, is that AI will be doing that apprenticeship and not humans. In other news, a really good piece of medical thing that we keep seeing over and over again here in the UK, really good to see this. It seems that Somerset Hospital is using AI to diagnose prostate cancer. Huge news that for males at a certain age that need to go and get this scan, because this is one of the worst things that mid 30-year-olds males can experience. Is prostate cancer is one of the highest. So the fact that it's able to help this specific type of cancer diagnosis is very, very good for certain aged individuals, 35-year-old males like me. And it's just, again, another thing we predicted, right? Like spotting little patterns amongst huge data sets like an X-ray. That's exactly what AI is really good at. And it's good to see hospitals actually implementing it and getting benefits from it.
Yeah, and that, as you said, it's from the Somerset NHS. But another thing within the NHS is that there's been another AI tool that's been tested by numerous hospitals in NHS, but the hospital trust, and they've identified, well, they're using AI to identify tiny signs of breast cancer, which has been missed by human doctors. So they've done it already. It says they've signs of breast cancer in 11 women, which
That's
has been
great.
missed by human doctors.
Wow.
And the tool's called Maya. So it's called Maya. It's been piloted alongside NHS, like many different NHS clinics. And it's analyzed the mammograms of over 10,000 women.
Wow.
So really interesting things, what's happening in the world of healthcare, especially in the NHS, because the NHS gets a lot of bad news
Mm.
when it comes to what we read in the newspapers, but still they do some amazing things.
Mm.
And in a nutshell, that was the news this week.